Locations in the comments as y'all are coming in. Give me your locations in the comments, and we will get started in a minute. Hope everybody had a great weekend. We may go a little overtime here today since I started later than usual. But as y'all are coming in, put your locations in the comments, folks. Locations in the comments. Tell me where you are checking in from. I'll shout a few people out, and then we will get started. Let me make sure we are active wherever we need to be active, and then we'll get to what we need to get to. We are live on Rumble. Good morning, Rumble Studio, working consistently. If YouTube could offer me to connect to more apps at the same time, then I would use YouTube Studio, but Rumble Studio does it, YouTube does not. But we are live on YouTube. Good morning, YouTube. Those of you ever asked, do I have replays? If you missed one, you want to catch the replay. The replay is on YouTube. You can catch the replay on YouTube. I'll tell you where in a moment. We are live on, tells me that we're live on X. Let me check. Yes, we are live on X. Good morning, X. We are live on LinkedIn. Good morning, LinkedIn. My name on LinkedIn and X and Rumble and YouTube is the same. It is at Dre All Day. Dre All Day on LinkedIn and Rumble and YouTube and X. Dre All Day. We are live on Facebook, Work on Your Game University. We're slowly building a new Facebook page up. Facebook page got hacked. If your Facebook page ever gets hacked, good luck getting it back. You're not getting it back. You might as well just start the new one as soon as you find out. So we're building that new one up. So Facebook /Work on Your Game University, live on Instagram at Dre Baldwin, live on TikTok at Work on Your Game. Give me locations in the comments, folks. Locations in the comments. We got to get to 1,000 likes before I start shouting people out. I need 1,000 likes before we start shouting people out, folks. We are at 855 likes on TikTok. I need 1,000 likes so I can start shouting people out. Give me your locations in the comments. The topic here today, we are talking the smear campaign against Candace Owens. And this is a smear campaign. It's not, yes, some people disagree with her, which is fine. I want to point out the smear campaign because I want y'all to notice what's actually happening and why it's happening. That's what we're going to talk about here today, regardless of your opinion on Candace's approach, opinions, theories, questions she's asking, accusations, assertions, whatever you want to call what she's doing. We're going to get into that. Give me locations in the comments, folks. Locations in the comments. And let's see what we got. Marky Man 007, good morning. Congrats on the first comment. Carol Ann Collins, Newburgh, New York. Marky Man, Sacramento. Leah, thank you for the heart man gifts early. Nikki, #1 gifted badge. Congrats. Marky Man got it. Leah, Tifton, Georgia, good morning. Thank you for the Go Popular. Nikki from Connecticut. Momo Queen 70, good morning. Avante from Huntsville, Alabama, good morning. Momo from California. Ron Johnson, Lima, Ohio. Quail Riz, good morning. Lincoln, California. 140.6, Walnut Creek, California. Leona Lever from Massachusetts. Happiness Now, ATL. Frank 1, thanks for the share. Long Haired 1, thanks for the follow. Kuya Binya Shara, Manson, North Carolina. Long Haired, Ohio. Giga Dad from Dallas, Texas. Steeler Fan 90 from San Antonio. You're a Steeler fan in San Antonio? How'd that happen? JB Smith 05 from Yukon, Oklahoma. Laughing Puppy 60 from Seattle. Cy Knox, thank you for the repost. Sold by Misty, Charlotte, North Carolina. Katie Doodle, good morning. Jean, good morning from New York. Leah said, love the tie. Thank you. I like this tie too. I don't wear skinny ties that often, but this one I like. Andrea Leavitt, 2-pin, good morning from Massachusetts. Wifey Tips, thanks for the heart. Me, sold by Missy, thanks for the repost. Leah as well. Leather and Pearls, good morning from Virginia. Amber Nicole said, what's up? Wifey Tips, Go Popular. Thank you. Katie Doodle from Mississippi. AI said, Candace Owens smear campaign. Share your location. I don't know if that's TikTok or that's somebody just calling themselves that. Is it AI or Al? No, I think that's TikTok. I guess TikTok is doing it. Candace Owens smear campaign. Share your locations. That's what it says. I don't know if that's TikTok or what is it? Leather and Pearls, thanks for the heart. Me. Amanda said, Alabama, where are you at? Are you talking about me? I'm in South Florida. I am based in South Florida. My hometown is Philadelphia, PA, but I'm based in South Florida. Been here for a while now. That's where I'm based at. I'll introduce myself in a moment. First, I want to introduce the topic. So as y'all are coming in again, I already shouted people out. So let's get into this because I already started later than usual. We make sure we make the most of our time here. So right now, there's a lot of blowback against Candace Owens. I did a live stream about Candace that was titled, Is Candace Owens Going Crazy? I did this probably about a month ago. So Charlie Kirk got shot September the 10th. It's November the 17th, and I'm recording this. So we're about 2 months. About 9 weeks away. 9 weeks passed from when that happened. So it was somewhere around October. I did a live stream on this because a lot of people were attacking Candace then. That was the first wave of attack. now the second wave of attack has occurred. And it happened specifically, when did this happen? This is probably maybe Wednesday or Thursday of last week, because this woman named Allie Beth Stuckey. Y'all know Allie Beth Stuckey? I do not know her work very well. I've heard her name before. I don't follow her stuff, but Allie Beth Stuckey, who is one thing we know for sure is she's a white woman, and she is a devout Christian. At least she poses herself as being one. Allie Beth Stuckey released a highly critical podcast episode of Candace last week, and I didn't listen to it. It was about 48 minutes long. I could see on X when she posted it, but I saw the caption that she put with it, and she said, I wasn't going to, let me see if I can find this post that she posted, because it's not really about what she, and I'm actually following Allie Beth Stuckey, but I don't listen to everything that she puts out. But I was looking at the caption of what she posted, and it's not really about what she said in that episode about Candace. It was the response to what she said and the amplification of what she said that really got my attention. So this post was 4 days ago. It has 2.6 million views on X, 18,000 likes. And she says the following. And everything came from this. So this is the source of what I'm talking about here today. She said, this is Allie Beth Stuckey, I wasn't going to respond to Candace publicly, but I was genuinely hurt by her accusation that I don't care about who killed Charlie because I express concern for the lives of people who have been implicated in her series on CK's murder. Let's stop right there. Let me just say that one more time. So I wasn't going to respond to Candace publicly. This is a caption that she put for a 48-minute episode of her podcast. So she wasn't going to respond, but she goes and does 48 minutes. Then she says, I was genuinely hurt. This is the feminine weaponization of emotion. Catch it right here. This is the appeal to emotion that she's using here by saying that she was genuinely hurt. So she is justifying what she's about to do. What you're about to hear, she's justifying it by saying I was genuinely hurt. So now she's putting herself in the position of being the victim, and that's why she has to respond to Candace Owens. Y'all catch these they got to catch these little things that people do. Emotional, damn it. So Allie Beth Stuckey is using the emotion. Emotional, damn it. As a shield for what she's about to say. Her accusation that I don't care about who killed Charlie because I express concern for the lives of the people who have been implicated in her series on CK's murder. Interesting. Okay. She says that couldn't be further than the truth. Charlie was my friend. He encouraged me, prayed for me, championed me, gave me advice when I needed it. We linked arms for the gospel, and I miss that so much. I very much care about justice for him. So you see, she's painting herself as a person who just has positive intentions. But you know who cares about justice for Charlie more than any of us? His family. His friends and colleagues who were with him every day. This is the straw man right here. So this is Allie's straw man. She says, who cares about justice for Charlie more than anybody else is his family and friends and the people who are with him every day. She says, I trust that they are asking the right questions to the right people in the right way. She trusts. So she's making the assertion that these people care the most. And she is doing this based off her blind faith that because they were his friends and family, that they must care about him more than anybody else, including herself and including Candace Owens. This is the assertion that Allie Beth Stuckey is making. That they are doing so in a manner that doesn't stir up suspicion amongst innocent people, in a way that doesn't hinder the actual investigation into who was involved in Charlie's murder. I want to see due process played out uninhibited. Okay, so she's saying all the things that sound good. And she's saying that, again, she's making the assertion Charlie's family and friends care the most about how Charlie lost his life, and that anybody who isn't one of his family and friends who are with him every day, they can't possibly care more about what happened to him than anyone who's on the outside. This is a straw man frame. This is a straw man frame that Allie Beth Stuckey is using here. Strawberry cheesecake. And if you accept this frame, then everything she says around it must be accepted as true, because Candace wasn't Charlie's family. And at this time, Candace was not actively working with Turning Point USA. So if you accept Allie Beth Stuckey's frame, then that means anything Candace is saying, because she wasn't on the inner circle, she can't possibly care about what happened more than anybody who was in the inner circle. The thing is, Allie Beth Stuckey is also not in the inner circle. So she's saying, I wasn't in the circle, you're not in the circle. So that means neither one of us is credible on going after or finding out what happened to Charlie Kirk, because the people in the inner circle, they must care the most. The problem is Candace's whole frame is that the people in the inner circle, maybe they didn't care that much, and or they were compromised, and or they might have had something to do with it, but we're not sure yet. That's why Candace keeps talking about it. And again, all Candace has been doing is, again, she's asking questions. You may not like the questions. She is offering evidence, not proof, but evidence that, hey, look at this, look at this, look at this. What do you think about this? Doesn't this look suspicious? Isn't this questionable? Doesn't this look kind of shady? She's offering that as evidence. Evidence does not mean proof. Those are two different things. And Allie Beth Stuckey is trying to pull the rug out from under anything Candace says by saying that read again what she said. She said, these people have been implicated in her series so that Candace is implicating people. That means she must be wrong and that she's hurting people by implicating them. Now, if I hurt you by implicating you on something that you actually did, does that make me wrong? This is why I want y'all to cast the logical fallacies here. And again, doesn't mean Candace is right. Doesn't mean everything Candace has said is true. Doesn't mean everything that Candace said will be proven to be proof. Some of it may end up being incorrect. Maybe she's chasing down some threads that are not based on anything real. But Allie Beth Stuckey's frame here is she's using emotion to undermine anything that Candace could possibly say by saying that, first of all, she's hurt. And secondly, if Candace Owens is implicating somebody, that must mean that she's wrong. That's bullshit. This is not true. But let's continue. She says, yes, I do feel deeply for those who have been unfairly maligned by implications of guilt. Again, this is the appeal to emotion. Did y'all catch it? Emotional, damn it. Let me read that sentence again. Listen to what she says. I do feel deeply for those so there's emotion right there. For those who have been unfairly maligned, there's more emotion right there, by implications of guilt. You notice she did 3 times in one sentence. This is the triple double of using the same logical fallacy in the same sentence.
Oh, baby, it's triple. Oh, yeah.
And then she said, that's really scary, serious, and wrong. She did this in 2 sentences. This is actually a skill by Allie Beth Stuckey. I have to give her a little bit of congratulations for doing this. Behind being female, feminine, and Christian, she's able to sneak this in, and people didn't even catch it. She says, I feel deeply for those who have been unfairly maligned by implications of guilt. That's really scary, serious, and wrong. In 2 sentences, she gave you 6 of them. 6 emotional daggers right into your heart, just to make sure that you don't bring any logic to the conversation. That's what she did right there. And I don't think she's doing it on purpose. I think this is just her natural way of speaking. Maybe. Most of all, she's not done. I care about how Christians seek truth. Here we go. We got to pull a different meme out.
Have some more chicken. Have some more pie. It doesn't matter if it's boiled or fried.
She took it to Christianity now. Now she's using Christianity to defend her position. She said, I care about how Christians seek truth. So now she's saying, hey, because I am Christian, our way of seeking truth is above anyone else's. And if you don't seek truth the way that we seek truth, then clearly there must be something wrong with the way that you are seeking truth. So she's not questioning whether Candace is seeking truth. She just says, she is saying without saying it, she's implying Candace is seeking truth the wrong way because she's not doing it the Christian way. And Allie, I guess, has appointed herself as the arbiter of what the Christian way of seeking truth is, and that the Christian way of seeking truth is the only way to seek truth. I don't think the FBI is seeking truth the Christian way. So what the hell is Allie Beth Stuckey talking about? Is the FBI saying, hey, let's seek truth. Let's find out who killed Charlie Kirk. We got to do it the Christian way. I don't think they're doing it. I don't think that's what Cash Patel is doing. But this is her frame here. Then she goes on. She's not done. Open quote, just asking questions, close quote. This is what Candace has said over and over. I'm just asking questions. So she says, just asking questions isn't a justification for slander. This is another straw man by Allie Beth Stuckey. This is just a logical fallacy masterclass. This is just the caption. I didn't even listen to the episode.
Strawberry cheesecake.
Just asking questions is not a justification for slander. First of all, slander is something that you can prosecute that in court. But let's just say she's using it metaphorically. You're slandering. That Candace is throwing things on people that are not true. If she's throwing things on people that are not true, those people can prove that it's not true. Bring something out that says that it's not true. The First Amendment in the United States of America offers free speech. So if someone is slandering you by saying negative things about you and you believe that what they're saying is incorrect, then you can show that it's incorrect. This is what happens in the open marketplace of ideas. Somebody throws out an idea. You think their idea is nonsense. You knock down their idea with your substance that is better than their nonsense. Now, if they throw out something that is nonsense and you don't want to knock it down, then truth being self-evident as it is, because Allie Beth Stuckey said, I care about how Christians seek truth. Okay. Truth is self-evident. Meaning what? If something is actually true, then clearly, and not clearly, it's not the word I want to use, eventually that truth will be obvious, and so obvious that anyone who is throwing out slander, quote unquote, will be outed as throwing out slander. They will be publicly outed for having thrown out some nonsense, because the truth, there's no different sides to the truth. There are different sides to stories. There are not different sides to the truth. So she says, just asking questions isn't a justification for slander. All right, this is another emotional appeal to emotion frame that she's using here, logically fallacious. Then she says, the God who created us and weighs our words has a lot to say about how we speak and what we seek. So then she went and used, not only did she use Christianity, she goes and uses God as a frame, a shield to defend her position, and to, again, imply and undermine Candace Owens for doing the things the way that she's doing it.
Emotional, damn it.
So y'all want a masterclass in logical fallacies where a woman, because a man couldn't have pulled this off. It has to be a woman with strong feminine energy pull this off. Allie Beth Stuckey seems to be that type of woman. I've heard her on, I think, Megyn Kelly a time or two. She has the ability to pull this off. You want to hear a woman pull off using so many logical fallacies that you lose count of it in a way that people are easily persuaded by it. All you had to do is read the caption to Allie Beth Stuckey's post where she is introducing her 48-minute episode where she bashes Candace Owens, but she does it biblically and in a Christian way. So it's a takedown, but she does it so gently and plainly and in such a feminine way that it seems like, oh, I'm just upholding the word of the Bible and the word of God while she's taking down Candace Owens. So therefore, anybody who comes against it, well, who are you to go against Bible? Who are you to go against Christianity? Who are you to go against God? Who are you to go against me? Just trying to do things to help people who are being hurt and implicated in the series that Candace Owens is doing. So what she's doing is just drawing this line between I'm doing it the nice Christian way and Candace is doing it the bad, devilish, demonic, attacking way. And a lot of people bought into this. And interestingly enough, if it had been a bunch of women buying into it, then I probably wouldn't be talking about this here today. But I saw a lot of men buying into this. She got quote tweeted so many times this day that I started noticing it. This has 2.6 thousand retweets. Some of those are quote tweets, a bunch of comments, and a bunch of people coming in saying things. And there are a lot of arguments here. Actually, there's one guy named John McGlone. This is the top response to what Candace said. John McGlone's response. I want to read this because what he said is, okay, yes. What he said is actually a pretty logical takedown of her nonsense. And a lot of people have things to say about it. I have things to say about it, but this is one that's up there. This is what he said. John McGlone said the following. He said, Allie, we care about truth and justice. If we succeed at obtaining the prior, we will get the latter. That is correct. If we succeed at obtaining truth, we get justice. Under no circumstance can we pursue justice while sitting and waiting for the same people who handled this case so poorly to tell us what the truth is. This is the crux of his point right here. And this is the most important thing you need to get. People who are saying, a lot of people are going at Candace Owens because Candace Owens is going out there and throwing things out. Some people like it. Some people don't like it. Saying, I don't like how this investigation is going. I don't like what the people at Turning Point USA are saying or not saying. I don't like that this is looking like this and this is looking like that. And a lot of this is looking fishy. Candace Owens is just, she's rabble rousing and rattling the cage and getting people to notice that look at the way that they're handling this Charlie Kirk situation. Something doesn't look right. Something doesn't smell right. And I'm going to get down to the bottom of it. And I'm going to keep putting stuff out there until these people give me the answers that I'm looking for. That's what Candace Owens is saying. And what her detractors are saying is that Candace Owens is a bad person because she should just shut up and accept the story that's been given to us by the officials. Let me ask you a question. Since when did we as Americans just accept what the official story is and everybody has to shut up and anybody who doesn't accept the official story, you're the idiot? I thought Charlie Kirk was clearly a conservative. Right? We can agree to that, right? Some of you may not agree with maybe you're calling me defending Candace Owens right now. Charlie Kirk was a conservative, yes? All right, can we agree that in 2020, when that virus was around, that it was more people on the conservative side who said, we're not accepting the official line of reasoning from the powers that be, and we're going to push back against the official line of reasoning from the powers that be? Was it not the 2020 election that led to January 6, 2021, people on the conservative side that said, we're not going to accept the official line of reasoning from the powers that be. We are going to push back against that and get the real answers that we want. Did that not happen? Was it not the people on the conservative side that said in 2024, it looks like Donald Trump is being railroaded here legally. They're trying to use lawfare against this guy to keep him off the ballot. we are going to push back, not by fighting or yelling or even posting on social media, but by going to the ballot box and proving that this lawfare and this official line of reasoning that you're giving us that we don't agree with, we're going to prove to you that that doesn't work by electing Donald Trump over Kamala Harris. Did that not happen? Now, all of a sudden, conservatives are saying, just shut up and accept the official story. This doesn't make any sense. On that frame alone, anyone on the conservative side, and this is mostly where it's coming from, because people on the left aren't really saying anything about Charlie Kirk. This is all infighting on the conservative side. People on the conservative side telling Candace Owens to sit down and shut up and accept the official story and don't say anything because the official story was told to us and we need to just accept that and be happy with it. That doesn't make any logical sense to me. Since when did the conservatives in the last 5 years, people on the political right, some of you listening to this right now, since when did the people on the political right start saying we need to just accept the official story and not challenge anything? And anybody who's questioning the official story, shut up and stop asking questions. When did that become a thing? Somebody has to explain that to me. I thought the people on the political right, between the three situations I just told you, the virus, the 2020 election, and the 2024 lawfare against Donald Trump, that the people on the political right had staked their position that we are not accepting any official story that does not seem to be on the up and up. We're going to question it, challenge it, and push back against it until we know for sure what is the actual truth. Now they're telling Candace Owens, oh, shut up. You're not allowed to question the official story. The official story is all we need. Allie Beth Stuckey. She got sent to be the person for this. Let me continue with John McGone's response here. That was coming from me, but this is what John said. He said, we want the whole truth. Yes, the whole truth was not just a story, but the whole truth. Let Candace cook. I agree with this. Just in case any of you is wondering where I stand on the Candace Owens thing, let Candace cook. Why do I say let Candace cook? And I'm out of context here. This is what I'm saying. Why do we want to let Candace cook? Because the First Amendment protects free speech. Secondly, truth is self-evident. I just told you those two things. You know both of these things. You should know number one. Maybe many of you never thought about number two. We have First Amendment rights to say what we want, and truth is self-evident, which means if someone is actually telling the truth and there's a real truth out there, it doesn't matter what anybody says using their First Amendment rights, the truth will stand up to it. On that point alone, let Candace cook. Because if Candace is wrong, the truth will prove her wrong. And if Candace is right, the truth will prove her right. But there's nothing Candace can say that undoes the truth from being the truth. Why? Because truth is self-evident. You cannot undo the truth with anything negative that you say. No implications, no accusations, no slander can undo what is actually true. It's impossible. So that's why Candace should cook. If it turns out that she's even 1% right, we will not learn that if not for the work that she's doing. This is John talking to you. I'm back to reading what he said. If it turns out that Candace is even right on one thing that she said, we wouldn't find it out unless she was doing it. Because the official story is, well, this random guy who is in a relationship with another guy who's turned into a girl, he just did it on his own. Nobody else was involved. He just shot Charlie Kirk. Oh, boo-hoo, that was terrible. And now we're going to send him to jail. That's the official story. Is it not? That's the official story. Candace is asking 1,000 other questions about that official story and questioning the official story. We wouldn't even have the questions to ask, let alone we get the answers, had Candace not come out and ask the questions. Why do people have a problem with that? Even if she's wrong on every single one. Okay? Let the truth prove that she's wrong. Truth doesn't have a problem being questioned. This is something that all of you should understand and keep in mind throughout your life. Personal, professional, anything that happens. Truth does not mind questioning. When something is true, you can ask me all the questions you want. I tell you, I've written 43 books. All right, that's the truth. All right, you want a question? Ask any question that you want. The truth is still going to be the truth, no matter which angle you look at it from, no matter what questions you ask, what you implicate. If you try to hurt or slander me, you can't. The truth is going to stand up to the truth because the truth is just what it is. It's self-evident. If I say it's sunny outside, the sun is out. All right, there's nothing you can say that undoes that truth. The truth stands on its own. So John said, I'm back to reading what John said. She's probably wrong on some details, but there is something very fishy about this assassination. This is what John's saying. There's something very fishy about this. It doesn't appear to be. This is me talking now. Based on what Candace has exposed for all of us to think about, let me ask a question for the comments. Give me a yes or no. Does it appear that the story that we've been given may not be the entire truth? Give me a yes or a no. How many of you think that the story we've been told is the entire truth? That it was just this random guy, Tyler Robinson. He got a gun. He went on the roof of this building. He shot Charlie Kirk. And then he texted his roommate /lover that he did it, and he was talking about it a few days earlier on Discord, and he's just this random person on his own who decided to do this, and nobody else was involved, and this just happened. It was just a tragedy. How many of you think that's true? Put yes. And if you think that there's more to the story, put no. So I'm getting a lot of no's. I'm getting a few yeses. I believe there's more to the story. I don't think we've gotten the whole story, and I don't think the powers that be, the officials, the FBI, are giving us the rest of the story. If you notice, the FBI hasn't said a single thing about this whole thing since it happened. You notice they haven't said anything? They arrested the guy. They took him to jail. He's had a couple court days, and that's it. We haven't heard anything else from the FBI. They did that whole thing in Arizona, celebrating Charlie Kirk's life. The official story has nothing's been added to it. Nothing's been said. Now, people really care about a person getting shot, losing his life like that. People are going to demand answers. And we're going to hear more and more and more and more information about the situation and what's happening, who did what, and what needs to occur. People are going to demand it. The general public is going to demand answers on that, and they're not going to stop demanding until they get answers from the powers that be. Charlie Kirk passed away on September 10th. That kid got arrested maybe a day or three later, and the FBI hasn't said a single thing about the whole thing since then. They said absolutely nothing. Now, let me ask you a question. What happened after George Floyd died? There were demands for information. There were demands for accountability. There were demands for arrests. There were demands for justice. There were demands for all types of things. And those things were delivered by the powers that be because they understood that the masses said, we are not going to just accept this happening. We need answers. We need to know who those cops are, how long they've been on the force, find out their backgrounds, find out where they live, make sure they get arrested, make sure they get indicted, charge them as much as you can charge them. There were demands. Charlie Kirk passes away and everybody's like, oh, be quiet. Don't ask anything. Just accept the story. People on the political right. When did this become the thing? I thought people on the political right were the opposite. I thought y'all were the ones who would question everything and challenge everything, not accept any official stories. And there was people on the left who would accept the nonsense and put on a mask and stand 6 feet apart from each other and go get the jab because you won't get the virus. I thought that was the left that did that. Now the right's doing it. Somebody explain this to me. I don't understand this. Now, John, going back to what John said. He said, my theory is, this is just his theory. It's not me reporting. The FBI knew it was going to happen and were meant to foil it, but they failed. That explains a lot of the strangeness around how the first few days were handled, but they wouldn't just come out and admit that. And of course, they wouldn't admit that. That's my context. Continuing, John says, regardless, hypotheses should be tested. This is the key, another key point that John made. Every hypothesis must be tested. If I'm wrong, then the process will prove me wrong. If I'm right, the process will prove me right. But if I have a hypothesis and your first response to my hypothesis is shut up, don't ask questions, no, we are not going to even engage with, let alone test your theory, then that tells me somebody's lying. Somebody's lying. Period. If someone throws out a theory about something that is true, and the first response to them is shut up, don't ask anything, no, you can't answer any questions, no, we're not even going to look down that rabbit hole, somebody's lying. Because when somebody's telling the truth, there is nothing to hide. This is essentially what Candace has said. This is essentially the thesis of her entire series is that if y'all are telling the truth, there's nothing to hide. There's no reason to shut me up. Just let me talk. Let me cook. If she's wrong, she's putting all her credibility on the line for this series. So if she's wrong, she should have no credibility after we find out the truth. But if she's right, now what does it say? Now he says, Candace is doing that. Testing the hypotheses. That is exactly what she's doing. She's doing investigative journalism and letting it play out on her show publicly. It's very strange to see how everyone is attacking her. Yes, it is strange. It's the reason why we're talking about this here today. It's strange that they're literally lying about what she has said. Yes, and this is another thing. This is where the straw men are coming in. So y'all haven't been paying attention.
Strawberry cheesecake.
The main straw man people are using around Candace Owens is basically saying that she said things that she didn't actually say. So they're trying to say that Candace Owens said that Erica Kirk, that's Charlie Kirk's widow, that she has something to do with Charlie Kirk getting shot. Candace Owens has never said that. I've listened to every episode of her show from, I think, how long have I listened to I've been listening to every episode of her show for a while. So everything on the Charlie Kirk, I've listened to every episode. I've heard every single word. Never once did she say Erica Kirk has something to do with it. That's nonsense. People just made that up out of nowhere and then said that she said it. And then people who didn't listen to it, who already don't like Candace Owens, and they want to accept the official story about Charlie Kirk, okay, they just go along and amplify it. And now it's all over the internet that Candace Owens said Erica Kirk has something to do with Charlie Kirk stuff. No, she didn't. She did not say that. So people are just making it up and pushing it. And he said, I've been following it. He said himself, I've been following from day one, never heard her say that. And she didn't say that. And then he said, justice doesn't exist void of truth, which is, again, reiterating how he started. You can't have justice without truth because you can't deliver somebody justice if we don't know the truth. Justice for what? Well, what happened? We don't know what happened until we know the truth. Candace Owens is trying to get to the truth. That is what journalism is, getting to the truth. Pushing the truth, pursuing the truth, this is John talking, has to be as or more important than pursuing justice. And that's what I see Candace Owens is doing. So this is John's comment. Now, I put a lot of my own context into it. You know what Allie Beth Stuckey said back to him? Any of you know? This is what Allie Beth Stuckey said. She said back to that, all of that. She said, you can have that view, but it's not even close to biblical. Okay, see, this is how you know that she's doing a whole bunch of bullshit. This is some bullshit right here. I'm not going to use the word grift because I don't know if she's doing this to make money. Maybe this is part of her business. I don't know. I don't like to use the word grift because people throw that word around recklessly when they see somebody that they don't like saying something that they don't like. I'm just going to say this is some nonsense. She said it's not even close to biblical. So now she's using the Bible as a shield for her fragile, weak argument. So her weak argument is that this is all hurtful and she's using it appeals to emotion and she's using Christianity to defend her position in order to take down Candace in a calm, feminine, nice way. And then when someone challenges her with a bunch of logic, she says, well, it's not biblical. All right, so she doesn't even engage. Oh, it's not biblical. All right, this is bullshit. Is the FBI biblical? When, again, she's using the Bible to defend her position and she's saying, be quiet, just let the FBI do what they're doing. Okay. Is the FBI operating from a biblical frame? Last I checked, I don't think that's part of their process. But if y'all know something that I don't know, please let me know. This is making no sense to me. This whole process is not making any sense to me. And let me see. John went on and left another comment, but this is, let me see what he's saying. I'm just skimming it here. The last thing he says in his reply comment, he said, I'm not sure how a Christian is supposed to pursue an investigation without forming hypotheses and testing them, which is what I think Candace is doing. Yes, that's exactly how you find things out. That's exactly how detectives figure out crimes. They chase down leads. Okay, that one went nowhere. They get a tip. Okay, that's not useful. They get something else. Okay, there's a little nugget of use here that I hold on to until later. And they just keep trying out different things and testing out different things till they crack the case. That is literally how you do it. That's literally how the job is done. Candace Owens is doing it as a citizen journalist, I guess you can call her. And she's doing an investigation herself that it appears that the officials are not doing. Now, may they be doing things in the background that we don't know about? Maybe they are. But Candace Owens has made it clear. Charlie Kirk was my friend. I love Charlie Kirk. I spent a lot of time with Charlie Kirk. We were on a come up together. Even though we weren't working together at the time that he lost his life, it still matters to me that he lost his life. And it matters to me a lot that the people around him seem to not care about it as much as I do. Now, is she right or wrong about that? There's no right or wrong. It's just her theory. Or her position is, I care more about what happened to him than they do because they don't seem to be hunting down the story the way that I'm hunting down the story. Now, could they possibly be hunting down the story really strongly behind closed doors and we don't know about it? Yes. But do we know about it? No. So does Candace have a right to have her theory and her position and to hunt down the story the way that she chooses to? Yes, she does. If there's a logical pushback to that, tell me what it is. She has a right to ask the questions anytime. Again, I will reiterate. Anytime someone is chasing something down and people are telling you to not chase it down and be quiet and to not question it, somebody is lying. There's a lie in there somewhere. I don't know who's lying, but somebody's lying. And by lying, I'm speaking metaphorically, directionally, that there's something that is being hidden is what I mean when I say there's a lie. This is exactly what Candace has been saying. And she's right. Something's being hidden. That's why they don't want her talking. Because if all the truth was out, they wouldn't care what she said. If all the truth was out, they wouldn't care what she said. It's like, speaking of Christianity, I'm sure there are plenty of practicing Christians who are listening to me right now. If somebody came out and they were slandering and trashing and saying negative things about Christianity and the Bible and Jesus and how Christians practice, they were just saying a bunch of negative stuff about Christianity, you wouldn't try to shut them up. You would engage with them and say, okay, what are you saying? What are your points? You got these 12 points about why Christianity is wrong and bad and is not true. And someone who knows their stuff will sit there and engage with them. and knock down all their bullshit. Why? Because the belief that you have in your religion is self-evident. You can defend it. When something's real, you can defend it. When there's some bullshit, you try to shut people up so that you don't have to defend it, because the more you have to defend it, the more obvious it's going to become that there's some nonsense in your point, in your frame. Now, what I'm trying to understand is why Allie Beth Stuckey and others who don't work for the FBI and don't work for the government, why are they trying to shut down Candace Owens? That's the question that we really need to answer. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Now, Owens' investigative series into this whole thing, where she's really investigating TPUSA and his leadership, Stuckey is this got a ton of amplification. So the reason I'm talking about Allie Beth Stuckey's podcast episode and caption is that this got amplified so much that day. I'm like, this doesn't look right. This is what got my attention. Right? So it's not even what she said. It's how they amplified it that got my attention. So many people quote tweeted her and said how great it was and how amazing that she made this point, and I really appreciate you for saying this. They either said that, they either amplified her and said how great she is, Allie Beth Stuckey, for saying what she said, and or they bashed Candace Owens. Candace is terrible. Candace has no credibility. Candace is just a hater. I can't believe Candace said these negative things about Erica Kirk, which she never actually said. I can't believe Candace is so terrible to have done all these bad things. Allie, you're so amazing. Thank you for saying this and saying it in the right way. I'm like, this doesn't look right. Something about this doesn't smell right. There's a lie in here. There's a lie here. And what I mean by that is there were way too many people co-signing what Allie Beth said, while at the same time trashing Candace Owens. I said, this is coordinated. This is not organic. Like, her podcast episode, I'm sure it was good for her fans. I mean, Allie Beth has some fans. Let's see how many fans she got. I follow Allie Beth Stuckey on X, by the way. And she has 571,000 followers on X. I think Candace has more followers than that. And sure, I'm sure a lot of people actually like her stuff naturally, regardless of what she's talking about. I'm sure she sold a bunch of her books. I'm sure there are people who listened to that episode and agreed with it. And I'm sure there are a bunch of people who don't like Candace Owens. We know all four of those things are true. I said, even with that, this is being amplified a little bit too much. Everybody who's amplifying it is saying pretty much the same thing. There's only two options. Praise Allie Beth for how great it was that she said this so perfectly, or bash Candace Owens, or do both. I said all of this happening on the same day by a bunch of people who are all pretty much saying the same thing, offering the same sentiment, and very little pushback going against her, all at the same time. I said, this is coordinated. This is a plot. This is a plan. This was planned. Any of you who saw this, do y'all think this was coordinated? Any of you who know about it? If y'all saw this post that came out on November the 12th, 5 days ago, you think this was coordinated? I do. I think this was coordinated. I think this was planned out. Allie Beth recorded her thing, and she came up with her caption, and they sent a signal out to all the whoever's involved. I don't know how they do it. I don't know. And they said everybody amplify this on the same day. That's what it looked like to me. This looked very amplified. Organized, planned out. So the pattern was a lot of people are using identical words. The same clips are going around. People using the same thumbnails. People using the same cut up videos to try to implicate Candace as saying something that she didn't say. And Candace Owens comes back the next day. She left a comment on Allie's social media. I think this was on Instagram, because she posted this on X, YouTube, Twitter. She posted it everywhere. Instagram, Facebook probably as well. She called Stuckey a fake Christian. That was her term, fake Christian. And she accused TPUSA people of trying to silence her. I think they are trying to silence Candace Owens. Now, that one, I think we all can agree. Even if you don't like Candace, we can agree they're trying to shut her up right now. They don't like the fact that she's talking, which only makes me want to listen to her more. Anytime they're trying to shut up a line of questioning, I listen to that line of questioning 10 times harder. It's just the way any objective, critical thinking person should look at life. Anytime somebody is being shut up from asking a question, you should pay really close attention to what that question is and who's asking it. And why do they want this question not asked? Because, again, truth can answer every question. If you're telling the truth, you can answer all the questions. Ask me any question you want. All right, truth will be obvious if I'm telling the truth. Now, if I'm lying, I don't want to answer any questions. For example, look at our previous president, how many questions he answered, and our current president, how much questions he answers. But let's not go down that rabbit hole. So over the next 72 hours, there were a ton of reactions, a ton of write-ups, a lot of Christian media commentary. This might be one of the reasons why it's so coordinated, because Allie Beth flies the Christian flag heavily. I don't know if she's actually a Christian or a fake Christian, as Candace said. And Candace Owens doesn't fly it as heavily, so to say the least. And this led to a what I referred to earlier, but some call it a conservative civil war. So you got this infighting between conservatives. Candace Owens is still a conservative. She's not MAGA, but she's a conservative. Allie Beth Stuckey is a conservative. So there's some interesting things that happen here, and that's what I want to talk about. Let me introduce myself. I just spent all this time with the background. My name is Dre Baldwin. Many know me as Dre all day. I'm a former 9-year pro athlete, author of a few books, done a few TED Talks. I run this company called Work on Your Game Incorporated. Our focus here is on helping you command the room, make sure that you can raise your prices, get the money that you want to make more money, make sure you imprint your aura, your energy, and your leadership on other people without saying a single word. We call that the Power Presence Protocol. We teach that in our Power Presence Protocol program. Try saying that 5 times fast. Go to the link in my profile. You can learn more about that. Any of you who want to get better at commanding the room and dominating the 85% of communication that is nonverbal, so that the rest of your actions, the stuff that you do on purpose, consciously, speaking, behaving, etc., lands 10 times harder and leaves 10 times the imprint. That's all in the Power Presence. You learn more about that at the link in my profile. Now, see if I can get through the points I need to get through here so we can get to the comments and not go too far overtime. I usually am done by 10 a.m. Eastern, but I think we may go a little bit overtime here today. Now, the blowback began with Stuckey's podcast, where she threw these terms out there, where she used a lot of terms: demonic, heinous, slander, and this set the tone for the whole thing. And again, she's using emotion to frame Candace negatively and frame herself as higher above. Now, the severity of this language made it appear less like disagreement, and it was more either it was a character assassination cloaked in Christianity and being biblical. That's what this was. Allie Beth Stuckey tried to assassinate Candace Owens' character, but she didn't do it by attacking Candace directly. What she did was she used the Bible and Christianity and her calm, feminine affect to do it. So it seems like she's just above the fray, but in actuality, she's right in the middle of it. She just did it in a Christian way, in a biblical way, and then defended it by saying, well, your logic is not biblical. All right, it's bullshit. That is complete nonsense. And she's using Christianity because most people are not going to challenge Christianity. Because how can you challenge Christianity? How can you challenge a religion? She knows exactly what she's doing. So Allie Beth Stuckey is not a dumb woman. This is a very smart approach, what she did. Still nonsense, but I give her credit for being smart and trying it. So even neutral observers, people like me, the choice of this spiritual condemnation, it elevated the situation beyond, well, you can't just question Allie. So you can't question anything Allie said because, again, if someone uses their religion as a shield for their argument, then who are you to question their argument? Because you're not questioning the argument, you're questioning their religion. Y'all catch it? Y'all notice this? This is what people do. They will use something that is so, what they believe, at least in their own minds, is so high-minded that you can't question that thing. So if you question what they said, the logic, then you're actually questioning that thing, their religion. You're questioning their truth. You're questioning what they believe in. Well, who are you to question my religion? Who are you to question Christianity? Because everything I said is biblical. So now you can't question me because then you'd be questioning the Bible. Well, who are you to question the Bible? See, this is what Allie Beth Stuckey did. Very clever. Still nonsense, but very clever. Now, multiple conservative influencers got involved in this, as I already said. A bunch of people who are aligned with TPUSA. They shared the same clips, the same quotes, and it led to a ton of reach across social media. Now, why are so many people trying to defend Turning Point USA? I got a theory. What do y'all think? After Charlie Kirk passed away, Candace Owens started saying TPUSA did not do right by Charlie in the process before he died and in the process after he died. But a lot of people are defending Turning Point USA. My question to you all is, why are they doing it? Why are they defending Turning Point USA? See, I'm indifferent to Turning Point USA. I'm just listening and trying to figure out what actually happened, or listening to people who are trying to figure out what actually happened. I don't care about Turning Point USA positively or negatively. I've never made $1 from them. I don't work for them. Not affiliated with them. Don't know anybody who works there. Why are people defending Turning Point USA? Anybody know? Is it because they don't like Candace Owens? What's that got to do with Turning Point USA? Is it because they love Charlie Kirk? Maybe, but Charlie Kirk's dead. He ain't run the company no more. What is it about Turning Point USA that has everybody defending him? Somebody already answered the question. And it was Difference Maker already answered the question. Follow the money. Follow the money. Roseanne said the same thing. Follow the money. Turner Frank Washington. Follow the money. Turning Point USA made a lot of money. Now, Turning Point USA technically is a nonprofit organization. Being nonprofit, for those who don't understand, does not mean you don't make money. It just means you're a nonprofit organization, which means, well, amongst other things, it means a lot of things, but amongst other things, you have to disclose how you're making your money and what you're doing, and et cetera, et cetera. They're a not-for-profit organization. They basically run as an organization that's designed to help conservatives win political elections. Long story short, they were bringing in a ton of money because they had a ton of influence when Charlie Kirk was alive. When Charlie Kirk was alive, he is the main guy, the Michael Jordan of the team, the LeBron of the team, if you will. He drew a lot of attention. He was helping conservatives win. He played a big role in helping Donald Trump win in 2024. And a lot of organizations who wanted access to that political influence that Charlie carried, it was Charlie who carried it. TPUSA by extension, but really Charlie Kirk. When organizations want access to political influence and or they want access to people who are interested in politics and or they want access to a certain demographic of people, i.e. young conservatives, that's who TPUSA is. The next wave of voters in America and decision makers in America are on the left. You can find them in academia. On the right, you can find them at places like Turning Point USA. They would donate a ton of money to Turning Point USA so they could have access to the people who are involved in, touching, and watching Turning Point USA. That's how it works. So Charlie Kirk was in charge of, as the CEO of the organization, he was in charge of a lot of decisions that involved millions of dollars. We're not talking hundreds of dollars, millions of dollars. That's who Charlie Kirk was. In addition to being at the college campuses debating kids, he was in charge of an organization that was controlling millions of dollars in money. And a lot of people wanted access to influence over not only TPUSA as an organization, but Charlie Kirk, because where Charlie goes, TPUSA goes. Everybody understands that. Now, what Candace Owens has intimated, actually, she's done more than intimated. I think we can go out and say she's pretty much asserted this, that there's a country overseas that starts with the letter I. They, for whatever reason, it's kind of interesting when you think about it. Why the hell would they care? But they want an influence over the people who were connected to TPUSA. They want to connect to TPUSA, this country over there that starts with the letter I. Why do they care about young conservative voters in America? They're not even in America. They want an influence. So how do you get influence? In politics, you get influence with money. They gave a lot of money to TPUSA. They had already given a lot of money to TPUSA. You understand? They had already given a lot of money to TPUSA. Now, what happens is, I told you all this before, but some of you sometimes left comments and complimentary comments saying, Dre, you should get involved in politics. And I tell you, one reason amongst many, I don't want to get involved in politics. And when you get involved in politics, you got to take donor money to win elections. You don't spend your own money. You use other people's money to win your elections. You got to spend a ton of money on ads and campaigning and all that shit. And the money that you get comes from people who expect something in exchange for their money. Nobody gives you money for nothing. Your grandma might give you $10 for your birthday, but other than that, nobody gives you something for nothing. So everything has a cost. Third law of economics is opportunity cost, i.e. there's no such thing as a free lunch. Charlie Kirk was taking money from this country over there, and one of their big organizations known as IPAC, A-I-P-A-C. You heard of them? Okay, so Charlie Kirk was getting money from these folks. A good amount of money because they got it. Where they got it, different conversation. They got it. Charlie Kirk, at one point, Megyn Kelly has confirmed this, not Candace Owens. Megyn Kelly has confirmed this. Charlie Kirk was starting to get tired of this entity that had given him money because it seemed like they were trying to sick their tentacles deeper and deeper into TPUSA and by extension Charlie, and they were trying to basically tell Charlie Kirk what to do and what not to do. And Charlie Kirk didn't like the fact that it felt like they were trying to control him. If you heard this story before, go look up a guy named Kanye West. Almost the exact same language. And if you listen to Candace Owens' shows talking about her relationship with Charlie Kirk's favorite artist who he used to listen to all the time, he and Candace shared an affinity for, was Mr. West. Charlie Kirk liked listening to Kanye West, at least at that time. Candace talks about it. Y'all go listen to the show. She talks about it. But they would share text messages and talk about Kanye lyrics and how they connected so much over how they felt Kanye's lyrics and the things that he was saying, et cetera, et cetera. Charlie Kirk felt similar to what Kanye West said. Kanye said it in a different way. Charlie Kirk never said it in such an explicit way because he wasn't that type of guy. He felt like they were trying to control him and tell him what to do. He didn't like that because he built TPUSA. Yes, he took money from people, but he didn't like that they were trying to tell him how to run his own organization, tell him what to say and what not to say. And he was going to do what he felt was right, regardless of whether or not that entity liked it or not. And that entity, according to Candace Owens now this is Candace talking, According to Candace Owens, that entity Charlie didn't like what they were doing. So that they convened a meeting, and some people who represented them were letting Charlie know, hey, you better get in line, or we're going to make sure we get you in line. You either get in line or we're going to put you back in line. I'm not saying this. I'm not saying death. I'm not saying that. They said, get in line or we're going to put you back in line because we're giving you a lot of money. And listen, we have power to get you back in line if you won't get in line yourself. Same thing Kanye West said, by the way. Y'all listen to Kanye's interviews when he was actively doing media. Same thing Kanye West said. They told me to get in line. And if I don't get in line, they're going to go get me. Well, they got Kanye. He's still alive, but they got him. Kanye has essentially been canceled from the mainstream. Charlie Kirk. Well, how much more canceled can you get? Again, I'm not saying that entity did it. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is Charlie Kirk was starting to let them know, hey, y'all not going to tell me what to do. And this entity, along with others who are connected to them, they put a bunch of money up. I believe the reason that this coordinated smear campaign on Candace Owens happened last week is that somebody, I don't know who, I'm not reporting who, I'm not theorizing who, I don't know who, put some money up and told these people, all right, is green light on Candace Owens. I don't mean green light physically. I mean green light, let's do it through the internet first. Let's just slander her name so people stop listening to her. This looked coordinated to me. I use the internet enough. I've been publishing content for a while. I use the internet enough. This was not organic. Allie Beth Stuckey's message was fine. It was cool. There are, I'm sure, a bunch of people who agree with it. Not that many. Not all for the same reasons. Not all in the same way. There was too many people agreeing with it. Too many people saying the same shit all on the same day, all at the same time. That episode wasn't that amazing. I heard some clips. It's not like she was saying anything groundbreaking. She was just bashing Candace Owens using the Bible. What's new about that? Candace Owens has been getting bashed for 10 years. Now, all of a sudden, this is just some breakthrough. Oh my God, I can't believe you said it that way. Really? This is not organic. So this near identical phrasing, it led to suspicion by people like me. And again, everybody's talking about this on the same day. Doesn't add up. And this timing clustered around anything Candace said, they would come back on her. This looked like there's a back channel that they said, all right, let's go get her. All right, let's say this part now. Now let's say this part. Then let's say this part. And now Candace Owens called her a fake Christian. It escalated the conflict because now people could use the Bible against Candace because she went and engaged. Candace goes in and calls Allie Beth Stuckey a fake Christian. I understand what Candace is trying to say here. Let me see if I can find that comment that Candace left. Because Candace did leave a comment on... She left a comment somewhere with Allie Beth Stuckey from what she had said. Let me see if I can find that comment. Here it is. So Candace Owens on, this looks like Instagram, the day that video came out. She said this. This brand of fake Christianity, so she didn't actually call her a fake Christian, she said fake Christianity, but people are quoting it as fake Christian. That's not what she said. Has to end. This brand of fake Christianity has to end. Everyone saw you make multiple stories, tweets, and videos referencing me for weeks. Because Allie Beth Stuckey's video, mind you, was a response to Candace. So Allie said, I wasn't going to respond to Candace, but let me be Christian and biblical about it and talk about why she's wrong. And Candace is saying, yo, you were talking about me for weeks before I said something about you. And now you're acting like you're some innocent victim. This is what Candace is. This is my interpretation of what Candace is saying. But let me finish reading her comment. Your implications were not kind. And they were not, quote unquote, Christian. Then, when I finally responded, you pretend you're some injured bird who had to dig deep into the wells of her faith to find the right scripture to guide her. This is 100% true. I completely 100% co-sign this sentence right here in Candace's reply. Let me read it again. When I finally responded, you pretend you're some injured bird who had to dig deep into the wells of her faith to find the right scripture to guide her. No, just stop. This is a bad act. And what people are using as a frame against Candace, that's the end of her comment. People are using it as a frame against Candace Owens is that she's attacking. Again, I just told you, Allie Beth Stuckey set this frame perfectly for the right people. I don't believe everybody who responded and co-signed her frame are actually responding organically. I think there's some coordination behind this, but I think there are a lot of people who do agree with it on an organic level that, wow, Allie Beth Stuckey is using Christianity and she's not going down on the low road with Candace Owens. She's using biblical concepts and she's pulling scripture out of context and using it against Candace Owens. And that's proof that she must be right because she's using the Bible and Candace Owens is not using the Bible. So therefore, how can you be right when you're going against the Bible? This is bullshit. Again, I said this like 8 times here today. She's saying, Candace Owens says about Allie Beth Stuckey, this is true. You are acting like you had to dig deep into the wells of Christianity to find the right scripture to guide you in your response to me when you're the one who started this by coming at me on the back end for weeks before I said anything back to you. Now, all of a sudden, you're the Christian biblical person. 100% true. I agree with this about Candace Owens. And when she said this, people took this and they ran with it and attacked her even more. Attacked Candace Owens, that is. Now, Candace Owens' audience, I guess we can say, and people who have been listening to her, people like me, rallied around her, boosting her stuff, because Candace Owens announced last week that her podcast is #1 in the world in terms of listenership. She announced that. I don't know who gave that stat, but she said #1 in the world, and I believe her because she's talking about a subject that people are interested in, and she's the only person in the damn world asking questions. She has cornered this market because everybody else is scared to talk about it because you see what happens when you do. She's talking about it, and everybody's listening to her. And now you got a group of people who are going against her for talking about it. So this controversy increased her traffic. I'm pretty sure it did. I didn't track her traffic, but I'm pretty sure that's true. Now, people affiliated with Turning Point USA, they're saying that Candace Owens is unstable. She's divisive to the conservative movement. And you see how they're, and pay attention. They say she's unstable. She's divisive to the conservative movement. So what's the unstable part?
Is that like a personal attack or something?
That's the ad hominem. So once y'all start noticing these things, it'll get real easy to notice them. Once you see it enough. They're using the ad hominem against Candace Owens. She's a bad person. They didn't say her arguments are wrong. Excuse me. They didn't say her arguments are wrong. They didn't say she's asking the wrong questions. They didn't say that her theories are not based in anything with any level of evidence. They didn't say that she is making incorrect interpretations. They say she's a bad person. See, when you call someone a bad person, that's what we call the poisoning the well fallacy. It's also an ad hominem, but it's also poisoning the well. You poison the well, it doesn't matter what you pull out of the well is all poisoned. So everything in there is poison. So if everything in Candace Owens is poison, that means you shouldn't listen to anything she says because anything she says must be wrong because she's a bad person. See, that's the way they get you to not listen to her in the first place. At least they're trying to, but it's failing. It's actually backfiring. And they said she's dividing the conservative movement. Oh, you can't divide the conservative movement. If you divide the conservative movement, then you're breaking up the conservative movement. We already got to fight against the liberals, so you might as well just shut up and go along with whatever the conservative movement is saying. Don't question anything so that we can push this story along and we can get on to the next thing. Even if this story is some nonsense, don't question it because then, well, you're going to let the enemy win. So what are they doing there? This is the relative privation. We got a more important battle to fight, so don't even start this battle. Just let this one go, even though you know it's some nonsense. Let this one go so that we can focus on the bigger fight. This is what they're doing to Candace Owens. They're making it seem like she's bad from all angles. She's hurting the conservatives. She's hurting Turning Point USA. She doesn't care about Charlie Kirk. She's a bad person. She's going against the Bible. And she's implicating people in a crime that they didn't do. You notice all this? This is all the things that people are saying about her all at the same time, all on the same day. That's how I know it's coordinated. Now, similar accounts rapidly produce reaction videos. There's a ton of reaction videos, people trying to expose, quote unquote, Candace Owens. I don't think you can expose somebody who is exposing themselves every single day, putting themselves out there. I don't think you can really expose Candace Owens. For what? What can you expose her for? I don't quite know. She's out there every day talking. And she's telling you the stuff. She's showing you the text messages. She's telling you exactly what she thinks. She's telling you where she's at. She's outing people and calling their names out. How can you expose her? I don't think there's anything left. Now, these same points being made over and over again is what I said, why I said this is coordinated. And Stuckey later put out a clarification message urging unity and calming some supporters. I didn't know about this. And let me see if that message is still up there because I just was looking at Allie's page. Let's see if I can find her clarification post, which let me first go back to the one that she put out. So it was this episode on 4 days ago. I didn't see anything else from her, though. So I don't know. No, not that. No, not that. No, not that. No. No, I didn't see it, so I don't know. Some say that she put out some message, coming back, but I don't think so. I got messages that I gotta see. Okay, so I didn't see it. So some say she came out and clarified. I didn't see any clarification because she was getting a ton of attention that day. And even if she did, let's say she put it out on a different platform, on Facebook or some shit, the earlier framing already is done. It's kind of like a newspaper putting out a false headline about you, and then when you threaten to sue the newspaper putting out a false headline, then they put out a retraction, but the retraction is like in this small fine print on the third page of the paper 3 days later. Like nobody even sees that. So as some of the people in younger demographics like to say, is that the apology needs to be just as loud as the disrespect. And I say that metaphorically. I don't like calling things disrespect when somebody challenges you, but you get what I'm saying. That you need to apologize just as loudly as you attacked, especially if you were wrong. But she didn't do that. And even if she did, nobody would care because the damage has already been done. Good thing Candace has thick skin. Now, media outlets covered this as a big rift in the conservative movement, which I guess we can agree it is. We can agree it's a rift in the conservative movement because these people both have a big megaphone. Alan Bestucky has a large megaphone. Candace has a bigger one, but they're both pretty known. And it's two women going against each other. Now, this covers deepened perceptions of a fractured political right, and political right is fractured on many levels right now, but that doesn't mean the political right still can't be the political right because they're going against the political left. And the political left is so chaotic right now and so disorderly in the things that they're doing and the people that they have representing. Doesn't mean that the political right has that serious of a problem, at least not now, not this subject. This is not enough. Now, headlines emphasize that there's chaos and infighting on the right, and maybe there is, but again, look at what they're going against. They're going against the political left, who is there's so much chaos and disorder on the political left as part of their game plan, let alone an isolated incident. This is an isolated incident. All right, this one will eventually blow over and we'll be on a different subject by Tuesday. But what's going on the left, this doesn't mean that the right is in any real deep trouble. All that said, folks, let's get to the comments. Do I need to take a restroom break? I do. Give me 90 seconds, folks. Let me run to the restroom. And then we'll get into using some of our favorite sounds. You already heard the strawberry cheesecake. And we probably get a lot of this one today.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Okay. And give me 90 seconds.
Have some more chicken. Have some more pie. It doesn't matter if it's boiled or fried.
Let's get to it. Over on YouTube, O-Dog, but not from Menace, said Allie is clout chasing. Which maybe she is, but that's okay to chase clout. Everybody on the internet is chasing clout. I can't be mad at somebody for clout chasing. Everybody tries to get attention. That's what social media is for. Odell says, seeking the truth the Christian way equals let the government that sinfully taxed the hell out of us and lied about 9/11, JFK, COVID, etc. handle it, even though the official report makes no sense. Okay, Allie. Yeah, so again, and she's using Christianity as a way to shield herself from criticism. That's the part that I don't like. Odell said, God calls Christians to be brave, bold, strong, wise, and courageous, not cowardly. Story is total BS. With Floyd, there was a demand for accountability, no demand for details of the event. Common sense was suspended. Okay, fair enough. So someone needs to tell Allie Ecclesiastes 8:11 because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily. Therefore, the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. Charlie is certainly not LeBron of TPUSA. He never ducked smoke. I got you. And then he says the political left is like the Joker from the Dark Knight. Chaos is their MO. Yes, well, I agree. Chaos is their MO. That part I do agree with. So let's see what we got over on TikTok. if you got actually, let me check Facebook just in case. LinkedIn, let's see anything. I don't think I saw anything on Instagram. All right. So I'm reading from the oldest to the newest, the best ones that I can, the ones that I can see. So Brooke Martella said, we never ever get the full truth. From the government, you're not going to get the full truth because they don't have to give it to you. Asking OG said he was turned in. Yeah, kind of, sort of. Different said, I think George Soros' money paid for Kirk's assassination. Well, I don't know. I can't report that. Maha Steve said, I wish she would stop dropping bits and pieces. If she has evidence, just show it. Well, Steve, she has given you evidence. Remember, evidence and proof are not the same thing. Evidence is this person had a motive, or this person did this after that thing happened. Wait, I got to take this call real quick, folks, because I have to verify this. Hello. Hey, this is Dre. What's up, Pedro? How you doing? Yes. What time you getting here? 8 or 9? At 9? Okay, great. Yeah. Yeah. All right. You got the location we're going to, and also the. Did you all send your COI over there? Mm. All right. Yes. Yeah, but everything else is good to go. All right. Thanks, Pedro. All right. Later. All right. Continuing. So, Steve, answering your question is that she's explained why she drops bits and pieces, because sometimes she puts stuff out there just to draw them out, them being her detractors, to say that she's wrong. And then when they say she puts something out on Monday and then they come out on Tuesday and say she's wrong, then Thursday she puts out an episode proving that what she said was actually true. So the story has to go this way also, Maha Steve, because she is investigating while reporting. She's doing both at the same time. So it's not like, so when people say, why don't you just put it all out there? The thing is, it all doesn't exist. It all is it's a living, breathing story. The story is still under development. The only difference between Candace Owens and a traditional investigative journalist is that a traditional investigative journalist, when this Charlie Kirk thing happened on September 10th, they would go and do all this investigating quietly behind the scenes, not on the front lines of the news, that is, for months. They might not come out with a story till June of next year. Here's exactly what happened with Charlie Kirk. It will come out in June of next year. But between the shooting and June, you wouldn't hear anything from that person. That's the way traditional investigative journalism works. What Candace Owens is doing in this new era of investigative journalism is she is giving you the investigation while she's doing the investigation. So she's giving you the pieces as she gets the pieces. Now, do I think she's holding some things back on purpose to draw people out and to make sure she can do an hour-long episode every day? Probably. And at the same time, I don't mind. I don't mind that she's doing that. Why? Because there's no full story yet, because we don't know the full story. She's still trying to figure out the full story. That's the whole point. So evidence, again, people need to be clear what evidence means. Evidence can be anything that points towards why and how something happened. Same way that O.J. Simpson, people thought that he was the murderer, right, of Nicole Brown and Ronald Goldman. Some evidence of that was that OJ was known for getting aggressive with his ex, and he knew that she was dating another man. That is evidence. Information can be evidence. Motive can be evidence, or a point towards a motive, a possible motive. All of these things can be evidence. So Candace has dropped a ton of evidence. It's just that people don't like the evidence, and they don't like that the evidence may not necessarily prove. Evidence and proof are not the same thing. So Candace's evidence doesn't prove her theories, but it is evidence. All the evidence has to be entered into the record so that we can get a full picture. But again, she's still gathering evidence because she's still trying to get information, because the people at TPUSA won't help her out by giving her the information. So that's the reason why it has to play out the way that it has to play out. So Maha Steve, I get the direction of what you're saying, but it has to go this way because of the way that the situation is designed. KB says, same with the Trump rally shooting. Camera off, drone flyby, guard happened to be gone. Fair enough. Shane Clark said, I've been a hunter for years. The only rifle I've shot a 30-06, and I'm telling you, if he your Shane Clark, your comment cut off. Stephen Albert, thank you for the lightning bolt. 365, one for every day. Marquita, New York, said they're being paid. Aaron said, I love Candace Owens. Great. Maha Steve said, just want truth. Yeah, well, we got to, truth takes time. Truth takes time. Truth is not something we get in this neat package in one day. We got to take the time to unpack the truth. Asking OG said, time exposes all. This I agree with. Carla said, doctor's appointment. Appreciate you, Carla. Cat Carnage says, no, the right isn't, but they are often silent intentionally when they know the government is involved. Well, everybody gets silent sometimes when the government's involved. Brooke Marteller, thanks for the greeting heart. Ashley Mauricia said, you're going to hear the truth in 25 years and they release the files. Well, hopefully it doesn't take that long. Tara Mills said, the FBI is corrupt. Has anyone seen the change in Cash? Look at his eyes. They steal your soul. I think he kind of looked like that before he joined the FBI. I don't think that's a good enough reason. Leah said, keep tapping, guys. We need to get the likes up. Yes, folks, get the likes up. We're at 60,000 likes. We need to get to 100,000 likes here.
Have some more chicken. Have some more pie. It doesn't matter if it's boiled or fried.
Ladies and gentlemen who are watching on TikTok, tap the screen and it gets the likes up. We want to get to 100,000 likes. We're at 61,000 right now. We got about 24 minutes on the clock, on my normal clock. I might do overtime here today, but we need to be at 100,000 by 10 o'clock. If I go overtime, we need to be at 100,000 by the time we get there. We're not 100,000. I'm in this at 10 o'clock on the dot. I promise you that. Now, AI said, I think that's TikTok's something TikTok is doing. Cat Carnage said, right, went silent majority because they trust zero people in this. Tim Rockwell said, no one likes Candace at this moment. And Tim Rockwell, I would strongly challenge you on that point. And I will give you, since we're using the word here today, evidence that there are a bunch of people who like her. And let me show you. So let's go Candace Owens. I'll pull up Candace Owens on YouTube. So Candace Owens' YouTube channel, she has 5 million subscribers, 5.58 million subscribers, 1.5 thousand videos. And her latest videos. So her last one was, I don't know if this is her latest video. Let me see. View channel. So pulling up Candace Owens show the latest episodes. This is not even the latest episodes. I don't know why they have it like this. Is she not putting her episode out on YouTube anymore? So I'm looking it up on YouTube, but this is showing her latest videos being 2 weeks ago. So I don't know what this is, but let's just look at these. 2 weeks ago, she put out an episode, 1.9 million views. Before that, 1 million views. Before that, 1.5. Before that, this is Harvey Weinstein. I got 600,000. Then it was 1.1 million, then 689,000, and 2 million, and 881,000, 557,000, 600,000, 500,000, 300,000. This is not even her. I don't even know why they have it like this. They don't even have all the stuff where she's been talking about Charlie Kirk. I don't know where it is. Let's see. Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk. Maybe she got a different YouTube channel. I don't know what happened. She has one where she said they're lying about Charlie Kirk. This got 9 million views. Pastors or handlers streamed 2 days ago. Yeah, so it's this one. So I don't know why this is not showing up in videos, but I guess it's streaming. 2 days ago, this got 1.6 million views. What are they not telling us? 5.8 million views. Last call for the MAGA party, 1.7 million views. I bought the receipts again, 2 million views. So Tim Rockwell, you said nobody likes Candace right now. I don't think she has that many hate watchers. Ain't that many. She might have some, but it ain't that many. And they keep coming back. So to say nobody likes her is incorrect, to say the least.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Nana Cat said Candace has overstayed her welcome. Again, I give you the same answer I just gave to Tim Rockwell.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Gabe said words are dangerous. No.
Emotional, damn it.
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. No, we don't play the words are dangerous game around here. Lulu's Nana said, Dre, you are so interesting. Can you do a live on everything you've done? Man, maybe one day. Maybe one day. That might be too long of a live. Yeah, I'm being facetious, but I appreciate it. Karina said her fans are fully convinced Erica is, and Candace hasn't shut it down. Fully convinced Erica is what? And if I don't know what you're referring to there when it comes to Erica, but Candace has been very clear on Erica, is that Erica, she is not implicated, and not saying Erica had anything to do with it or that she knew. She hasn't even really talked about Erica Kirk that much. And I've listened to every single episode, and I've heard when she mentioned Erica. Also, to be clear, Candace has said that TPUSA either knew about or has something to do with, or maybe both, what happened to Charlie Kirk before it happened. Erica Kirk was not involved in TPUSA. She was just Charlie's wife. She was not working in the organization. She took over as CEO after Charlie died. So when Candace says TPUSA has something to do with it, and then you say, well, Erica Kirk is the CEO, not you, but anybody says Erica Kirk's the CEO of TPUSA, she didn't become the CEO until after Charlie Kirk was dead. So she can't be implicating Erica by simple logic. If people understand inductive reasoning, there's no way she could be implicating Charlie Kirk by saying it. I mean, Erica Kirk by saying that. Kay Marie said, Candace is a grifter. She is not trying to get to the truth. All right, here we go.
Is that like a personal attack or something?
So I would suggest all you stop using the term grifter, because people just throw that term out there when they see somebody doing something that they don't like. So you call them a grifter as a way of assuaging your own emotional challenges. If you have an issue with what she's saying, then challenge the point, challenge the logic, instead of attacking her on a personal level with the ad hominem. You said she is not trying to get to the truth. What is your evidence that she's not trying to get to the truth? Since people want to use this word evidence these days. Kay Marie said, Candace chases money. She's not concerned with truth. What does it mean that she chases money? What do you mean by that? Because if you said she's chasing money by pointing out that she makes money from doing what she does, then that means you have to apply that same frame to everyone who makes money doing what they do. Do you have a job, Kay Marie? All right. So are you chasing money? So can we call you a grifter? If you're going to call somebody a grifter because they make money, then that means everybody who makes money is a grifter, unless you have another way of explaining it. Tactical Acquirer said, who is Candace Owens? Do you mean Grand Dragon Candace? Okay.
Is that like a personal attack or something?
All right, you get an ad hominem award for that. Thanks for trying. Sam said, using the Bible to shield her weak argument. You mean like Charlie did? But what did Charlie do? And Charlie Kirk's been dead for 2 months, but I'm talking about Ali Best Stuckey here. But if you want to talk about Charlie Kirk and your disagreement with him, then you're about 3 months too late for that argument, Sam. Debbie said, what are you talking about? I'm talking about Candace Owens. Rachel, thank you for the follow. Rachel 34501. Nurse J Beezy says, just stopping by to say hello and God bless you. Thank you, Nurse J Beezy. Rachel, thanks for joining the fan club. Dorothy Carrico 6, thanks for the follow. Bonnie said, is not the truth according to Candace Owens or public opinion. I'll wait till after trial. Well, the issue, Bonnie, with that frame is that we're not sure that the trial that's happening is the trial that should be happening. That's why we need a person like Candace Owens. It's the reason why we have a free and fair press, ladies and gentlemen. The reason why we have a free press, not a fair press. The reason we have a free press is to hold the government accountable so that they tell us a story is quote unquote official and we don't believe it's true. The press will verify or say, hey, there's some bullshit here. That's the purpose of the press. The media that we have now, our independent platform, content creators, streamers, podcasters, art writers, Substack holders, etc. They are the people who you should be looking to. Find the people who you like and that you trust to hold accountable the official people who tell you what the official story is, because you know that the official story can sometimes be some bullshit. So you need the Candace Owenses of the world. You may not like Candace, but you need to find people who are similar to her who will ask the questions. And I find it very interesting that a bunch of people are trying to undermine her as a person rather than challenge her points. Very few people are challenging her points. Debbie said, Owens is using her bitterness, creating division and making money in her best friend. What makes her bitter? What's she bitter about? You're saying that she's bitter. I want to know about what? Creating division. What division is she creating? I need you to answer that question, number 2. And she's making money in her, I think you mean off of maybe, her best friend. She's making money off her best friend. Well, if you're saying she's making money off her best friend, then you would have to say all of Turning Point USA is doing that as well. Why are you only singling out Candace? Just because somebody is making money does not mean they're doing something dishonest or doing something wrong or bad. I don't understand how many of you have been trained to this concept, because all of you got jobs. Y'all make money. So why is what you're doing honest, but what she's doing is not? Why not? What's the difference? What's the difference between you making money and her making money? You're doing it honestly, but she's doing it dishonestly. What's the difference? Just because you don't like what she's saying? That doesn't make sense. Y'all got to come with some better, more adult level arguments than, oh, she's a grifter because she's making money. Everybody makes money. Nana says she was in love with Charlie and she felt jilted. Jilted by what? I mean, she married another guy. Let's say that she was in love with Charlie. Then that means that she wants to make sure she brings to justice whoever was responsible for getting him killed. What does that have to do with her investigation? Does that undermine her investigation? I think that makes it stronger as far as I'm concerned. If you believe she was in love with him. Jan said, isn't it against the law to investigate without a license? No. Who told you that? What grade are you in? Investigation just means diving into something to find out what happened. You don't need a license to investigate. We're at 89,000, folks. Likes. Get the likes up, folks. Nana Cat said, of course she does. Doesn't mean we have to agree. Well, I don't know what you're saying, of course, to, but you're right. You don't have to agree to anything. Nobody should be trying to stop her from talking. Bonnie said, Candace is so smart and really cares. This sounds like a straw man is coming, Bonnie. But let's read the rest of it. If Candace is so smart and really cares, she knows you cannot compromise real evidence. I'm not quite sure what you're saying there, Bonnie. What do you mean by real evidence? Evidence is anything that could point to a motive or cause of something that occurred. So I don't know what you mean by real evidence. Any evidence can be evidence. Doesn't mean it's going to stick. Doesn't mean it becomes part of the proof, but anything can be evidence. If I have a heat stroke today, part of the evidence is that it's going to be 80 degrees in South Florida. Is that the reason that I had the heat stroke? Maybe, maybe not, but it's evidence. It's just part of the piece, one of the pieces of the puzzle. Possibly. We don't know because we don't have the full story yet. Angelica said, I think there's more to the story. I don't buy what they told us. I agree with you. Nurse JBZ said, Christian here. Absolutely. Thank you. Sam said, LMAO, faith isn't defense of anything but delusion. That I agree with. Well, actually, not anything. It can defend other things. But using your faith to defend a logical argument, I don't agree with. Karina said, I wish she would look in other directions, not just her personal beef and bias. That's all. Who did she have personal beef with or bias against, Karina? Who were you talking about? And if it's a personal beef or bias, that means there were people that she didn't like before Charlie got shot. And if so, how do you know who those people were? Because the only time I heard her talking about the people she's been talking to in the Charlie Kirk investigation are people she's mentioned after he got shot. I never heard her diss or say anything negative about any of these people while Charlie was alive. So if you're calling it personal beef and bias, that means it had to predate the assassination of Charlie Kirk. So if you cannot point out how you know that, then you're going to get a straw man for that. So I'm going to give you a moment to tell me where you got that from. Cheryl Smalley, 521, thanks for the share. Leah, thank you for the lightning bolt. Difference Maker said, thank you, sir, for your voice of reason. You're welcome. Dwayne Mitchell, Detroit in the house. Good morning. Lulu's Nana said, getting paid. Yeah, a lot of people get paid. All of y'all got jobs. So does that make everybody in here a grifter? Difference Maker said, I like how you think, brother. The hype to influence the masses. Yes, that works very well. Karina said it was a government hit. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. Leah, thank you for the lightning bolts again. We're at 100,000 likes. Thank you, everybody, getting the likes up. Sam said, I never heard of this till you mentioned it, so you're the one elevating it. That's fine. I don't mind elevating something if I'm going to talk about it. I have to elevate it. I appreciate the fact that I can elevate something by talking about it. So I appreciate that. I'll take that as a compliment. KB said they did the same thing to Trump, clipping his words to charge the Capitol. Oh, yes. That's what the media does. The media does that to anybody they want to make look bad. They'll just clip stuff out. They can do it to anybody. You only have to be famous. Somebody wants to make you look bad and you have content on the internet, they can just take it out of context and use it against you to try to make what you said into something that you didn't say. Angelica said, I think Allie is wrong too. Well, the one thing Allie is wrong about is using the Bible and Christianity to block any challenge of her illogical, fallacious framing. Karina says, certain members of Congress spreading lies after his death leads me to believe it was a hit. Okay, maybe. I would need more information, more evidence than that, though. Sam said, keep the infighting up so we can elect more socialists. I don't think that's what's going to lead to that outcome. I think it's a more important thing than that. As I talked about with Mom Donnie last week, people feel like they're broke and they ain't got any money. They're going to listen to whoever's talking about giving you stuff that you don't have to pay for or giving you more money or getting money for you that comes from people who have it. Zoran Mamdani pulled that off expertly. Brigithia Gweens, thank you for the follow. Tina, thanks for the repost. Good morning. A-Pers said, just confirmed I'm following Candace on X. All right, good. Nathan Don and Christy, thank you for the gifts. Karina said there were also a lot of Palestinian posts that were published all over within seconds of his death. Okay, I didn't know about that. Doc said anyone that leads with I'm a Christian does so to make themselves seem better than the next person. That often happens, Doc. I'll say if someone leads with I'm a Christian and then they go make an argument, what they're doing is using that Christian frame to block any logical pushback to what they said. That's what Alec Stuckey did. She did a very good job of it, as a matter of fact. Jeremy, thanks for the share. Sam said that's what Charlie did to quote his bigotry in the Bible and pretended to win. I don't know about that, but the topic here today is not Charlie Kirk. You keep talking about Charlie Kirk, but he's not the topic. Roseanne said, don't question, just have faith. Yes, that's pretty much what she did. Carla, you made it back. That's a quick doctor's appointment. Laura MTA5 said TP seems to be behind it. We'll see. It has to be proven. Everything has to be proven, folks. Leah said, I think the situation was so emotional, people are defending TP USA. Well, I think people are defending TP USA right now because a lot of people don't like Candace Owens. They already didn't like her before this. So now her jumping on this just gave people, just threw more gas on the fire. That's what it seems like to me. We just said, unless you're a my nonprofit, pretty much. Jay Krenler, thanks for the share. Gloria M, thanks for the follow. Nee said, and that's why he was unalive, because of the influence we probably would have run in 2028. Yeah, if he was old enough, he would have been, I don't know about 28, but maybe after that. He was pretty young. He's like 31, so you got to be 35 to run for president. So he would have been right there, and maybe to run after that, especially if the Republicans lose in 2028. Leah said, went from supporting to controlling. That's what it seemed like. And Megyn Kelly has confirmed this. Yes, videos of them dancing and jiving to Kanye. There is. Leah said, that's how these organizations start to control people. Start with supporting to controlling. Oh, that's what it seemed like was happening with Charlie Kirk, TP USA. Kanye West has talked about it as well. Leah said, agree. Whether you think she's right or wrong, I believe that's what happened. Karina said, I did notice Christian influencers repeating the same thing. They all repeated the same thing. All on the same day, and they were all saying the same thing, all on the same subject. And again, Allie Beth Stuckey's message was fine, but it wasn't some groundbreaking thing that she did. They made it seem like it was groundbreaking. It wasn't. UB Hockey Man said, if there's a coordinated effort, that must mean they fear some of what she's saying. Of course they fear it. We know this. Yeah, we know this. They definitely don't like what she's saying, and they don't want her to keep saying it. That's why they're trying to tell people don't listen to anything she says. They're trying to poison the well of her very existence by saying she's a bad person. So anything she says must be wrong. They're trying to keep people from listening. The problem is that would work if this was 10 years ago. It does not work. Actually, not even 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It doesn't work now because as soon as you tell people don't listen to something, don't do something, you absolutely should never, ever, ever look in this direction. It makes everybody look in that direction. That's the problem with it. User said, Candace has always been a grifter. She was a huge liberal to start. That's a straw man.
Strawberry cheesecake.
And it's an ad hominem.
Is that like a personal attack or something?
Again, those of y'all using this term grifter. What makes somebody a grifter? The fact that they're making money? Because making money makes you a grifter. And any one of you has a job or a business and you make any money, you're a grifter. If making money makes you a grifter, then everybody in here with a job is a grifter. And then you said she was a huge liberal to start. What makes you a huge liberal as opposed to just a liberal? What's a huge liberal? What's the difference? Is there such thing as a huge conservative? And Candace Owens was a liberal. She has admitted to this. And as she got more information and more knowledge about the world and how things work, she shifted from being a liberal to being a conservative. That does not make you a grifter. How many people in here, put me in the comments if you have ever been on one side politically and then you switched to being on a different side politically? Put me in the comments if you ever did that. Anybody who's putting the word me in the comments, then user 86, you have to call them a grifter as well, just because they changed their mind about something. Any grown adult who doesn't change their mind about certain things at any point in their lives is not a grifter. It seems like they are just thinking and looking at the world and making decisions. If you have the same opinions now that you had when you were 18 and you're 47, I would consider you to just not be a thinking person, because you should probably know a lot more, have a lot more wisdom about life 30 years later. Candace Owens ain't even that old. My point being is that she started out as a liberal probably because most young adults adopt the political leanings and political ideals of the adults who raise them. So if you grow up in a liberal household, you're going to be liberal. That doesn't mean you stay liberal the rest of your life. You may, and you have a right to that if you want. But if you turn conservative, it doesn't mean you're a grifter. It just means you got some different ideas and you saw life in a different way. You decide to change the way you look at things. What's wrong with that? 904 local, thanks for the follow. I love the mountains, thanks for the follow. Leah, thank you, lighting up the hearts in the gift gallery. Julie Gasbo, thanks for the follow. Carolyn Rutter said Tucker Carlson is talking too. He has been talking. Leah said Charlie Kirk isn't here anymore. I need to keep their supporters with money. Yes, that's very true. To keep their organization running, they do. Karina said, I'm never not listening to Candace. She's the only one speaking up, but I don't always agree. Fair enough. You don't have to agree. Listening to someone who you may not always agree with is a good thing because it keeps your mind open. It keeps your mind sharp. Becca said, I used to love Candace, but she went off the deep end a while ago. On what subject, Becca? See, when people say stuff like this, a lot of people are saying just what you said here, Becca, on X last week. I used to like Candace, but she's gone off the deep end and now she's lost her mind, et cetera, et cetera. And my question to anyone saying that is, on what point? Give a logical answer as to what you mean by that. What is she doing wrong now that she wasn't doing before? What changed? She just came out with a topic. She talked about something that you didn't agree with. She said something that you don't like. What did she do that causes her to have gone off the deep end? CC Ruiz, thanks for the heart. Karina says she's also been wrong on many occasions throughout the years. I don't know what you're talking about, but anybody can be wrong on many occasions. Every human being over the age of 30 has been wrong on many occasions. Now, the only difference between Candace Owens and you and anyone else is that Candace Owens is on a public stage. So if she's wrong, everybody knows about it. If you or I are wrong, nobody knows except us. So just because somebody's wrong does not mean that they can't. It doesn't mean they don't have a good point today. So, Karina, I don't know about this argument. We need a stronger argument than this. She's been wrong before. Name somebody who's never been wrong. I can't name one person. Roseanne said, no, Candace is waking up and stating the truth, and that is the most real you can be. Well, we'll see if it's the truth. We don't know if it's truth yet. She is seeking truth, is what I believe she's doing. I don't know if she's stating it, but she's looking for it. Angelica said, I'm thinking about it very emotionally because I feel so bad for Charlie's parents, sister, wife, kids. Yeah, it's crazy that it all has to play out in public. But the trade-off of being a public figure is that people are going to talk about you publicly. That's what comes with it. So Charlie knew what he was signing up for. So it's not sad in that sense. Anastasia May, good morning. Vicky Skinner said, I never cared for her before, ultra-conservative, religious, but now I so respect her. What changed? What changed for you, Vicky, that made you respect her more? Pray for Eagles? Thanks for the heart. Globe said, I listen to Miss Owens because I want another view. Mostly I agree with her. Very seldom I disagree. Fair enough. Flaw says she lost me when she went after French president. Well, you mean the French president's wife who's actually a man? You talking about that situation? Why did that lose you, Flaws? What about it? Because she's been sued, but the French president's wife, quote unquote, never came out and just said, hey, this is proof that I'm a woman. Vicky Skinner said, who's the guy on her channel now? Well, the guy who was on there, guy's name is, what's that guy's name? Ian Carroll. Ian Carroll was sitting in for her because she went away for like a couple of weeks because I think she was giving birth. I think that's what happened. She was giving birth and she had Ian Carroll, he's pretty good in his own right. He has his own channel. He did a sit-in on her channel for like a couple of weeks while she was dealing with maternity leave. But he's back. I mean, she's back now. He has his own channel though. E8 said, what's chaotic on the left? What compares to the Trump files? What's chaotic on the left? Well, number one is that anything that Donald Trump says or does, they just say the opposite of that. That's number one proof of their chaos and lack of identity. Number two is that they are supporting the concept that a boy can decide that he's a girl and everybody's supposed to affirm that. That's just 2 points that I'll give you without going deeper into it. But I've done entire live streams on that subject. And when I say chaotic, what I mean it in a scientific way, because the scientific law of entropy says that when you have no standards or parameters, you get chaos. And the lack of standards and parameters on the political left is that we want to remove standards and parameters because the right agrees with them. So the political left's frame right now is anything the right wants, we're going to do the opposite of that. So that's why they're chaotic. That's why they're chaotic. Just on that point alone, they're chaotic. Jamie said, I love this guy. Thank you. Me too. Debbie He5 said, getting rich on her so-called best friend passing. How's she getting rich? Define rich and tell me how much money she's made from talking about it. This is a false argument, Debbie.
Have some more chicken. Have some more pie. It doesn't matter if it's boiled or fried.
That's not a logical argument that you made there. And 1 million people have talked about Charlie Kirk's passing. Of those million, half of that million has a monetized channel or social media platform. So why is she the only one getting rich? If she's getting rich off it, a bunch of people are getting rich off it because everybody has their stuff monetized and everybody's talking about it. So why are you pointing out her as getting rich, quote unquote, off her friend passing? What about Turning Point USA? You know how much money they took in after Charlie got shot? Are they grifting? I mean, they took the money in because Charlie got shot. That's why they got the money, right? So are they grifting? But only Candace Owens is grifting because she's making money. There's 1 million people making money talking about Charlie Kirk. Nikki Trapp, thanks for the follow. Andrea Levitt, 2-pin. Thank you for the congrats on the gift. Ashley, thank you for the heart. Darlene Allegro said heart. You just said the word heart. Thank you. Mama Mandy said, I love Candace. Christy said, go to her live section for the latest video. Okay, so the live section is for the latest video. Maybe it's because I'm looking on the mobile. Oh, all right. Now I see it's under live. Right. Yeah, for some reason, YouTube does this. They put the live in its own category as opposed to the uploaded videos. So as all you know, if you go to her YouTube, so her last videos, somebody said that nobody likes Candace right now. So I'm just reading the view numbers from her latest videos. Okay, I'm just reading down the line. 1.6 million, 1.7 million, 2.2 million, 2 million, 2.5 million, 2.4 million, 2 million, 1.5 million, 2.3 million, 2 million, 1.9 million, 2.1 million, 2.5 million, 3.6 million, 2.9 million, 2.3 million, 2.9, 2.7, 3 million, 2.9, 2.9, 3.4, 3.1, 2.9, 3.2, 3.5, 4.8, 3.4, 4.5, 5.8, 9 million, 6.9 million. Okay, this is all since Charlie Kirk died. I just read you the view numbers on YouTube from every episode Candace Owens has put out since Charlie Kirk died. So anybody saying that nobody likes Candace Owens, I strongly disagree. Vicky Skinner said, I never used to like her, but now I respect her for what she's exposing on the Kirk story. Fair enough. Okay, so y'all pointing out is under the live tab. Got it. D. Donnelly said, love her, hate her, everyone is watching her. This is true. We're at 120,000 likes. Thank you, Leah, for keeping everybody going. Mama Mandy said, we can't just ignore what happened. Well, we didn't ignore that. What we're trying to figure out is why it happened and what was behind it. And that's what we're trying to figure out. Or at least that's what Candace is trying to figure out. And we are supporting her by listening to it and talking about it. Marquita said, Candace is the ex-girl of Charlie. It seems with pics of them in Sunset, I think there may be, well, they were not boyfriend and girlfriend. That is not true. Now, they were cool because they did business together. They worked together, and they're both conservative, and they were both on tour because Candace used to work with Turning Point USA a lot. So they were good friends. Candace has been clear about that. She never lied and said they weren't. So y'all pointing that out, that she may have liked Charlie Kirk on a romantic level. Let's just say that she did. She never said that, but let's just say that she did. That actually strengthens the argument that she would really care a lot about making sure she found out what happened to him. So that doesn't undermine her argument. I think it makes it stronger. Mama Mandy said, Candace brings receipts. No, yes, she has brought some receipts. Difference Maker said, boom, proper smackdown. Well, thank you. Alfred said, everybody chases money. We have to have it to survive. Yeah, so not everybody chases it, but everybody needs it. So the frame that people try to use is called Candace a grifter because she's making money from doing her work. Again, everybody makes money when they work. So why all of a sudden is one person a grifter because they're making money from working? If making money at work makes you a grifter, that means everybody with a job is a grifter, period. So people need to stop using that damn term. That's the reason why I pointed out. Crystal said, as a left-leaning liberal, I follow and agree with Candace and her stance about Charlie and Israel. Fair enough. Alley Cat said, Charlie didn't give her a position. Candace Owens went on tour and did a whole bunch of tour dates with Charlie. She said she did. I can't remember how many she said she did, but a lot. So it wasn't about her getting a position. I think she did actually. She was working with them in an official capacity for a while. So that's actually not true what you're saying. Free Speech 010 said, I like this guy. Thank you. Me too. Claudia says she's postpartum. Don't think she might be a little bit more sensitive than her normal self. Well, maybe she is. There's times she's even mentioned that, hey, it was right after I had my baby, but her baby's been a couple months now. So I don't think that's the issue right now. Busy Lady said, why the hate? Just let the girl grieve her friend's death the way she wants. Well, I don't think it's hate, Busy Lady. I think people are just trying to silence her because they don't like the fact she's asking questions that they don't want to ask. Crystal says she's got a lot of points. D. Donnelly said, people saying she's getting rich over her best friend's death when she's already rich. I don't know if she's rich or not. And I don't care if she's getting rich right now. I'm looking at the substance of her argument. So listen, if she's giving an argument that has substance and she's making $1 million a day from it, that does not change the fact that she's giving an argument of substance. If she's giving a bullshit argument and she's making $1 million a day, the argument is still bullshit. So whether she's making money or not making money has nothing to do with the substance of her content. So why are people talking about how much money she's making or how much they think she's making or if she's making money at all, as if that has anything to do with the substance of what she's saying? If what you're saying has substance, I don't care how much money you're making. I don't care if you're making none. It's still substantial. And if what you're saying is some nonsense, you could be making $10 million a month. It's still nonsense. So the money has nothing to do with it. People are using the money as an excuse. Leah said, I don't think she was in love with Charlie Kirk. She really was his biggest supporter with Erica. Okay, fair enough. I don't know if she was in love with him or not. And frankly, I don't give a damn. All I'm listening to is the substance of her points about his death. He's dead now. So whether she was in love with him or not, you can't marry a guy who's dead. Kagan says she's doing all the research the FBI should have done. Research, the FBI might be doing research. They're just not announcing it publicly. So we give the FBI a little bit of grace, at least for now. Alley Cat said Candace has lost her mind. On what grounds? Make an argument here. You didn't make an argument. You just threw something out there.
Is that like a personal attack or something?
Claudia said the FBI isn't done and won't release info due to nature. Yes, they're not going to release any info yet because they may still be investigating and there's still a trial going on. So this kid is under trial. This kid is on trial. So they can't put out information because this is a trial that has to be played out. So they won't and they can't release information because this is an ongoing investigation, ongoing trial, ongoing criminal procedure. Claudia said, I used to watch every Candace video since her being postpartum. She's lost her sense of reality. Claudia, on what grounds has she lost her sense of reality? What has she said that shows she has lost her sense of reality? Alley Cat says she wasn't friends with Charlie for years. That's false. She was just on events with TPUSA in 2024. They weren't working together directly because Candace has her own thing going. She has her own company. Charlie has his company. And Candace was actively trashing Israel when Charlie wasn't quite there yet. And Candace has made it clear. Have you listened to the episode? She talked about this. That Charlie was starting to come closer to where she was at. They weren't in the same place, but he was coming closer. And this is one of the things that entity had a lot of issues with Charlie because of that. So she was friends with Charlie. This is not true. They never stopped being friends. They just weren't working together. It's two different things. Jennifer said, can anyone trust what the government tells us in the last 60 years? I applaud Candace. I agree on that basis alone. You got to ask questions. Doesn't mean that she's right. It doesn't mean that the government's wrong. But doesn't mean we do not accept anything the government tells us just without questioning. We don't do that. And any of you who's been alive, any of you who was alive in 2020, that 2021, and in 2024, is no way you could with a straight face say we're just going to accept any official story coming from the American government. That's crazy. Christopher Barker said, Candace Owens is a beautiful, smart young lady. It bothers people that she's a black Republican. Well, that's one reason people don't like her. You're right about that. Mama Manny said, TPUSA has turned into a religious-based type of entity for some reason. Okay, I don't follow them that close, but I'll take your word for it. Stephen Albert said, you don't know shit about Candace talking grifter. Come on. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? So a bunch of you saying me, so y'all know what I'm talking about. So user said, I don't know who you are, but you are intelligent and I enjoy listening to you. Well, follow me here on TikTok. You'll find out who I am. Just keep listening. Katie, Texas conservative, said Candace is 100. She's a brave young girl, woman. This is a hard place to be in. I did Trump vote. Fair enough. Karina said changed after Obama. Marquita said went from liberal to conservative. Katie said parades in 2020. And it was crazy. The threats. Roseanne said sign of intelligence is the ability to learn and change your mind. This is true. Alley Cat said grifter, a person who gained money or influence or attention by deceiving people through manipulation. Yeah. So how was Candace deceiving anybody? You had to prove that she's deceiving people if you're going to call her a grifter. Just because someone gets money and they are drawing attention, if they're saying something that you don't like, that does not make it a deception. And it doesn't make them wrong or scamming because you don't like it. Now, if they're lying on purpose and intentionally they know they're lying and they're lying anyway, that's a scam, that's a grift. But Candace Owens questioning Charlie Kirk death narrative is not a scam or a grift. It's simple questioning. So that doesn't make her a grifter. And now, again, whatever you do for a living, anybody who disagrees with it can call you a grifter. Glow said, me, I was a Democrat for so many years. Now I'm a conservative. Fair enough. D-Max said the colleges poison our young students. Well, some of them are happy to take the conditioning. I know what you mean by poisoning. But Alley Cat said grifter changes positions quickly to get more attention. No, that doesn't make you said shifter. I don't know if you meant shifter or grifter, but that doesn't make somebody a grifter. If somebody changes positions, it depends on what subject and why. Every day I pick a different topic. Does that make me a grifter? Because I'm changing my topic in order to talk about what I think the audience would be most interested in. Does that make it a grift? the bigger point here is you folks need to stop coming up with ways to call somebody a grifter. Calling someone a grifter is a pejorative. It's like name calling. It's like what 7-year-olds do in second grade. If you disagree with what somebody is saying, challenge their points. Don't attack the person, attack the point. The fact that you're trying to come up with different ways, Alley Cat 18, to attack her on a personal level proves that you don't have a logical argument against her, which is the much bigger problem than your attempt to define her as a grifter. Sunshine and Whiskey said, Candace, Tucker Carlson, and Megyn Kelly are all on the same search for truth. Yeah, they're not all paying the same level of attention to it, but I get what you're saying. Difference Maker said, Candace has made anti-Semitic statements. So? There are people who make anti-Christian statements, anti-Asian statements, anti-man statements, anti-woman statements. So why is saying something that's anti-Semitic such a third rail thing? They can't be talked about? Karina, thank you for the ice cream cone. A few more comments here, folks. Karina said, everyone can be wrong. My point is that people shouldn't just take everything and run with it. Just take mental note and stay around to see what happens. Well, yes. In a long play, logical world, that's exactly how it would go. But that's not how most people are. Noel, good morning. Alley Cat said, creates drama to stay in the spotlight. Grifter. No, that's false. Politicians create drama to stay in the spotlight all the time. TV people, entertainers, social media influencers, a lot of people do that. Create drama to stay in the spotlight. And Candace Owens did not create the drama of Charlie Kirk getting shot. Charlie Kirk got shot. She just talked about it. I don't create drama, but if there's something that is dramatic that is happening, I'll talk about it. Again, does that make me a grifter? Joey says, someone needs to ask the questions. This is true. Erica B said, I missed the whole live today. Damn my job, LOL. Oh, yeah, damn your job. But still go to work. Go to work. Everybody got bills. But you can watch the replay on YouTube, Erica B. Carol Ann Collins, thanks for the share. Texas T, thank you for the gift. Sandia, thank you for the share. Sunshine and Whiskey said, I would love to see you and Candace in political conversations together. Yeah, it'd be interesting. VR said 200K likes. We're at 134. I don't think we're going to get to 200 because I'm going to end this in a few minutes after I get the rest of these comments. Sunshine and Whiskey said, Candace, I like Candace. She is fearless and fed up right now. Yes, it was a good combination because that person is going to actually do the stuff that a lot of people won't do. Erica said, they seem to have gone down, but she still has millions. No, she's still doing over 1 million every episode. Damn near 2 million every episode. So she's still going pretty strong. Alley Cat said, you seem to be intelligent. Candace is a classic grifter by definition. Already knocked down this. Already knocked down this and that you're trying to play the grifter thing, and this is a poisoning of the well. Already knocked this down.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
What is your logical pushback to something that she has specifically said when it comes to Charlie Kirk? You don't have one, so you're trying to attack her as a person rather than attacking her point. That is the poisoning the well, and that is the ad hominem, which makes your entire argument. You keep trying to call her a grifter and trying to argue about whether she's a grifter or not. It's a straw man. It's not even an argument.
Strawberry cheesecake.
Over here, you got to bring logic and substance. If all you have is ad hominem over here, then there's only so much attention you are allowed. Joey said, if they get mad at her for asking the questions, maybe she's on to something. Yeah, she is on to something. We don't know what she's on to. If she's on to something, that's why they get mad at her. Michelle, good morning. Filthy Mind Game said, grifting for money. That's all MSM newspapers for entirety. They all post reviews, of course. Yes, exactly. So what Filthy Mind Game said here is true. If making money by doing things to get people's attention is grifting, then there's a whole lot of grifters out there that need to be called out. Damn near half the people you know of are grifters. Everybody in the mainstream media is a grifter. A lot of podcasters are grifters. A whole bunch of social media influencers are grifters. Politicians are grifters. Entertainers are grifters. Athletes are grifters. If that's what grifting is, then nothing is grifting. That's the whole point. My point is people need to stop using that term because people only use it to attack somebody that they don't like because they want people to not listen to that person instead of actually challenging that person's points. If you think somebody's points are not good, challenge their points. Bring a logical argument to the table. I don't want to hear this preschool shit. You just calling somebody a name as if that means we're not supposed to listen to them. Stephen Albert said, much respect. Gotta go to work, Dre. Thanks for all you do. Thank you, Stephen. Kuya said, I like the fact that Candace proved Kamala ain't black. Well, we knew that. But yeah, she did kind of prove it. I remember that. I know what you're talking about. I remember that. Candace, Michelle said, is Candace married? Why are they saying she was in love with another man? Well, both can be true, Michelle. And yes, she is married, but both can be true. Leah said, I was responding to the comment you read saying she was in love with him. All right, fair enough. Dolphin said, people are quick to judge others as a grifter. Not really. People aren't even judging, Dolphin. That's not a judgment. What people are doing is throwing out a pejorative because they don't like the argument on an emotional level, so they throw out an emotional term so that they don't have to engage logically. That's what people actually do. When someone starts calling you a name, that's because they can't or they won't engage logically, so they engage emotionally. It's much easier to engage emotionally than it is to engage logically because logic requires thinking. Emotion does not. And then people come up with logical justifications for their emotional argument because, again, it doesn't require as much work. Erica B says she wasn't talking about it. They would say she was involved. I don't know. I guess we'll never know. That one we know for sure. Marky Man said, I didn't mention the BBC scandal. Yeah, it's not the topic here today. I might talk about that. I might not. My Tim said, I think Candace made some valid points, questions. Some others are questionable. Well, that's the whole point of investigating. That's what investigation looks like, is that sometimes you're going to find something that there's some substance to it. There's something to follow in that thread. And sometimes you're going to ask a question and it ends up taking you nowhere. It's like a dead end lead. A detective who's trying to solve a murder case and they have no leads. They just got to go looking for stuff and they take any tip they can get and they chase down everything. And out of everything they chase down, 80% of it may lead nowhere, but 20% of it is going to lead to them solving the mystery. That's what investigation is. So people are looking at Candace talking and assuming that every single thing she says must lead to a logical, provable conclusion. That is not how investigation even works. So a lot of people don't even understand how it works, but they're trying to challenge or attack what she's doing. And they don't even understand what she's doing. Shirley B, good morning. Crystal said, I hope you have a good day. Thank you. It's Me Booze said, are you still a Trump supporter? I see what you did there.
Strawberry cheesecake.
Donald Trump's not even the topic here today. So see how people try to bring up Donald Trump? He's not even the topic. He got my lighter, said, I haven't been here in a while. Your content's still one of my favorite. Well, thank you. If it's one of your favorite, then how have you not been here in a while?
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
I'm saying that as a tongue-in-cheek thing, but he got my lighter. Hope that you're around more often. D. Donnelly, thank you for the follow. Jeremy said, what are your thoughts on this Trump and Bill emails? There are no Trump and Bill emails. There's Jeffrey Epstein emails where Jeffrey Epstein was talking shit. And we talked about that on Friday. Jeffrey Epstein was known to embellish and lie and stretch things out of proportion. This was brought up in court. And I did a whole live. I did 2 hours on it on Friday, Jeremy. Watch the replay on YouTube. Sweet Tea said it was before she got married. Yeah, I know they were working together before she got married. That doesn't mean she was in love with him. A man and a woman working together does not necessarily mean they were in love or dating or had sex or anything. They could be, but it doesn't mean that they absolutely did. Katie said, thank you always for bringing facts and truth. I got to go to grift. I mean, work. Hugs. Yes, thank you for saying that, Katie. Yeah. Any of you go to your job today, you're a grifter because you're making money. And I disagree with your job, so that makes you a grifter. So if I disagree with what you do and you make money, you're grifting. Angelina, thanks for the follow. Calvin said, there's a difference between judging and witnessing. So if haven't actually witnessed, stop judging. I don't know what you're referring to there, Calvin. You don't have to witness something to have an opinion. I don't say that Candace Owens is judging. It looks like she is theorizing, and she is offering her evidence for her theories, and she's chasing down leads, and she has a right to do that. Now, if someone wants to repackage that as judging and then use this frame, then it becomes a straw man. But I don't know exactly what you're talking about, so I'm not going to give you a straw man award because I don't know exactly what you mean by that. But she has a right, and everybody else has a right to ask questions. So I don't know if that's what you were saying. Karina said, Epstein already said those emails were said jokingly. There is no Bubba. Yeah, well, Epstein was known to just talk shit. Sweet Tea said exactly, but that's what people are saying. Oh, yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying, Sweet Tea. Calvin said, I'm agreeing with you. All right, fair enough, Calvin. I understand. Thank you for clarifying. So, ladies and gentlemen, I do these lives. We're about 20 minutes over here today. I started about 20 minutes later. So, I do these lives 8 a.m. Eastern. 8 to 10 usually is when I'm on. Tomorrow, I'm going to be off. Tomorrow, I will not be here tomorrow. So, those of you who are Do not message and say where you at tomorrow. I'm not going to be here tomorrow. I will be back Wednesday. Tomorrow I got a prior engagement. I got a prior appointment that's going to conflict with this. So I will be back on Wednesday. So hopefully we get some good storylines coming up by Wednesday. I know we got the Trump might sue the BBC. If he sues them, we'll talk about it. If he don't sue them and they just do something, then maybe. Then there's the Corinne Jean-Pierre book tour. We might talk about that. I had that as a topic a few weeks ago, but I don't know. It's not that interesting anymore. Some people are saying that MAGA is over. We might talk about that. Yeah, we'll see what else. I got a whole lot of topics that I may one day get to, and I got a whole lot of topics that I may never get to. So that's the way it works. Marky Man said I'm a retired grifter. Karina said, how will I spend my morning? Watch the replays. Watch the replays. I won't be here tomorrow. You can watch the replays. So Barb said with Pedro. Yeah, exactly. Michelle says, see you Wednesday. Yes, I will be back on Wednesday. I will not be here tomorrow, folks. I will be back on Wednesday. No live tomorrow. I'll be back on Wednesday. I'm usually here live Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern. So I know I'll be back on Wednesday. This week, we'll be here Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Now, assuming that I paid the internet bill, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then next week, we got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday is Thanksgiving. We're going to take off Thanksgiving. Okay, so anybody, Thanksgiving will be off. Okay, next week. Thanksgiving will be off. I think I might go live on Friday, Good Friday. I think I might go live that day. No, is that Good Friday? Black Friday, excuse me. Not Good Friday. Black Friday, the 28th. I think I'll go live on Friday, the 28th. But if that changes, I'll let you know. I'll probably go live that day, and then we'll be into December. We'll be on our normal schedule going into December. And then Christmas. Let's see, when is Christmas this year? Christmas is on a Thursday. So we'll probably take off that Thursday and maybe the day after. New Year's is on a Thursday. I might go live on New Year's Day. I don't really take that time off. That week after Christmas before New Year's, I work. So we'll be live normal schedule then. But this week I'm off today. Tuesday I'm off. I'm off tomorrow the 18th. We'll be off Thursday, Thanksgiving Day. But other than that, I'm planning on being live. But if anything changes, y'all will know about it. Appreciate everybody in here. Appreciate the likes. Got 146,000. Thank you, moderators, for keeping everybody tapping the screen. Thank you to the commentators. Thank you for the regulars. Thank you for the detractors. Thank you for the lurkers who are watching and not commenting. We appreciate you all as well. Just like the live, make sure you are following me. You want to work with me directly, go to the link in my profile, get into our mastermind. That's the Power Presence Mastermind, where we coach people like you on how to leave an imprint, have instant authority, raise your prices, make more sales without saying a single word, because 85% of communication is nonverbal. You master the nonverbal stuff, then the verbal and conscious stuff become amplifiers of everything else. Understand that your nonverbal communication is the baseline that people judge you on. Everything else they find out about you is an amplifier. In other words, it multiplies what they already judge. People judge you within the first 2 seconds of coming across you. They know by your body language, your energy, your tone, your aura, and everything else you're giving off without speaking who you are, what you are, how to deal with you. You want to master that? Get into the Power Presence Mastermind. Have me as your direct personal coach through that process. That link is in my profile, or you can just text the word power to the number in my profile, number in my bio, which is 305-384-6894. My weekly motivation text just came out today, as a matter of fact. If you didn't get my weekly motivation text, get them into my text community by texting me. Numbers 305-384-6894. Everybody have a great Monday. I will see everybody Wednesday. I'll be back Wednesday. I'm off tomorrow. Everybody have a great day. We out of here. Work on your game.